Hello again, everyone. This is Ken Kibler, Director of Training and Client Business Support for eTruckBiz. I want to thank you for joining us today. Jeff will not be here today, so you get myself and Mason as we go through some of these slides where we cover the normal volume and productivity updates, as well as we'll talk about our ASM program, as well as some of those key tools to help you manage Network 2.0 moving forward. So with that, and as always, I have to read this. eTruckBiz is not endorsed, sponsored, or approved or otherwise affiliated with FedEx Corporation. We are just calling them as we see them. Our business support package allows you to organize your administrative functions, optimize your productivity and efficiency, as well as maximize your financial results, so you can capitalize on Network 2.0. Volume trends for last week. First, we'll start with the pickups. Look at that. They are moving up 3.037%. That's the next to last week in the month. So that is a very positive trend. You expect to see that this week, but getting it last week is fantastic. Pickup packages also up 3.87%. So once again, very nice trend, well above the trend line. On the delivery side, it looks like we made it back to the trend line, up 5%. Fantastic. Those are the delivery stops. Delivered packages up even more, 5.48%. I'm just going to round that up to 5.5. Very good results on the delivery side. Okay, now, did we make money with more packages? Let's see here. Routes dispatched did increase 5.1 or 4.11%. So they did go up, but they did not go as up as much as the stop in the packages. So that should be positive. And oh yes, it did increase 99.957. We'll round that up to the century mark. So we are back at 100 stops per dispatch. That is fantastic. With more stops coming this week, hopefully we can push that over the 100 stops. So great job by everybody out there by reacting to the increased volume, managing the dispatches, and hopefully putting more money to the bottom line of your business. As I said, with the BSS program, there are 3 programs: the Administrative Service Manager, the Optimized Business Program, and the Expense Management Program. If you want to know more about those, please make an appointment with Becca at etruckbiz.com. Once again, and to book appointments, etruckbiz.com/whatisthebss. We will start with the Optix app. So I'm going to go here to share. Excuse me. All right. Can everybody see my screen out there in Zoom land?
Yes.
Oh, outstanding. Okay. So when you log into the Optix app, this is the screen you'll get if everybody is on road. Before that, they would be on the preload. So you would get the preload screen. The on-road screen is where all the magic happens. So you can see right here, I can view all of my CSAs, or I can drill down and I could just go to one CSA. So we're going to go to this CSA here. I can see each driver. I can see time definites that are in danger or that are already late. So that's what the yellow circle is for, and then the number of stops in that area. You can see as an operation right here, got 99.0 inbound local service, have done 369 of 680 stops, 77 of 118 time definite stops, pickup stops 10 of 35, 14 exception packages, 12.3 stops per hour. So I know I've got some concerns here. with my time definites. I've got 7 of 7 routes on the road. So I'm going to go up here to my time commitments. I'm going to hit that. And I can sort these once again by CSA, and I can sort it by service type. So I'm going to look at all of my 1030s. I'm going to click there, and I can see I've got 17 of 19 delivered. Of the 17 that were delivered, fantastic, we had all 17 of them on time. However, I've got this one right here, 1030, that has not been delivered. Hopefully, somebody made a call at 10 o'clock and we're asking, hey, Mr. or Mrs. Driver, where is this stop? Once again, got this one right here, 1030. And this is going to, it looks like a primary school. If I want to click on it, what's it going to do? It's going to take me to the driver's route. That looks pretty busy right there. So that's everything they've done. If I don't want to see everything that they've done, because I'm just worried about this time definite stop right there, what am I going to do? I'm going to hit this layers button right there, and I'm going to get rid of all the completed stops. So that helps me out a little bit. Now let's just say I want to see my time definite stops. I can do that as well. I'm going to leave my time definites and my pickups. Okay. So I could see that. I can get rid of that. And I'm trying to figure out where's this one late one. Okay. Click on my time definites right here. And here's this 1031 that hasn't been delivered. It should have been stop 36. So is it on this truck? Hopefully it wasn't, and it's somewhere else, but you can see stop 36 has not been delivered right here. Okay. And I can put these time definites in order. I did that by clicking this button, and now I have all of my time definites listed right there. And this would be the last place that my driver was. Okay. Go back out of this. I go back to my dashboard. Other things that I can see right here are my pickup stops. So I can see any pickup stops that are within 30 minutes of the windows closing. You can see, so we're in good shape on that right now. Okay. Go back to the TDs here. And I could also sort this by route. So the other thing I can do now is I'm going to go to my 12 o'clocks. And if I just want to see which my 12s haven't been delivered, I can toggle that button right there, and I'm only going to see my 12s that have not been delivered. So right now I have 6 that have not been delivered. This is in the central time zone. So it is now 12:09 there. Hopefully somebody has called these drivers to see, hey, where are these 12 o'clocks? Have you delivered them? And they might say yes, but then the system has not updated yet. If I want to see all the ones that were delivered, I click that right there. And I can now see all the ones that have been delivered as well as those that have not. You can see we've completed 15 of 21. Of the 15 that were delivered, all of those were delivered on time. Mason, anything to add on this?
No, it's hard right now to not to show you guys the preload. It is super valuable in terms of keeping an eye on the time definites and how many are on each route. For those of you who have longer stem times from the terminal to your first stop, if you see that you have 20 1030s on one truck through the preload and you don't get out of the terminal till 9:30, it might be a route you want to start moving some stuff around and get some of those time definites off of that one truck to make sure you're getting them done. So that preload is super valuable to get in there and see as the sort is happening. But no, I think that's pretty much it.
Excellent. I appreciate that. The other thing, I clicked over here on the routes, and this is what kind of Mason was talking about. You could see how many of each service type you have by route. Okay. So I think that's important. Like I said, just to balance it out, Mason was talking about, here's another CSA for this contractor who gets out of the building hopefully at 8:45, and first stop is 87 miles from the building. So really have to keep an eye on the number of 1030s that they have. And here's one that scares me. 19 1030s. So do we have to make a move, or is there something we would have to do to get those 19 that are delivered right there?
And you notice too, right below where Ken's cursor is there, it tells you the completion percentages. They have 4 late packages. So you're already, when you're dispatching, a lot of people ask us, how are we going to manage these time definites and how are we going to make sure they get off of the truck at the right time? And we just had our seminar down there in Huntsville, and one of the biggest questions was, how are we going to make this happen without what changes are we going to have to make? This right here is a culture change. The biggest thing that is going to have to change in your operation is culture. Being able to see how many particular time definite windows are on each and every single one of your trucks is going to help you with that as well. This particular driver, they might have been set up for failure getting sent out with 19 stops that are 1030s, because we're seeing right here they got a lot of late ones. Chances are they're probably going to have some more late ones. 4 packages late, showing at 71.4% on time. That's not going to work. So having this information in your hands, ready to go, try to get it before it runs out of the terminal and while it's happening is extremely valuable. Ken's showing this on an iPhone. The Optix app is available on Android and Apple devices, phones and tablets. So you can be on the go, looking at this information, getting a hold of the driver, figuring out what's going on, and trying to get those off the truck. So, culture change and making sure we are watching. And a lot of drivers, a lot of contractors that have gotten time definites, they have said that the main thing is the drivers knowing that they're watching. So if you can pull this up, you can look at it, you can say you did these stops out of order. That's another really big thing with the Optix app, Ken. Being able to look at a route and saying, why were these 4 late? Did that driver do them in order? The DRO, for all its pros and cons, it is supposed to, when used correctly, it is supposed to take into account those time definite stops. So did the driver do this route out of completely out of order? Was the time definite 1030 do it to be the fourth one off the truck and they didn't do it till 35? You can see that in here. So really holding them accountable to running the route how it's supposed to be ran to get those time definites off the truck, or it's a super valuable piece of software to keep an eye on that.
Yep, you can see right there. First stop was 1001. Next stop should have been 1022. Where is it? Hasn't been delivered yet. Fourth stop should have been 1584. Where is it? Hasn't been delivered yet.
Ken, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, you were looking at work area 646. It was a school, had not been delivered yet. So I went and looked at the exceptions for that driver. That is an exception for that driver. In fact, all schools in that city that he's got on his truck are code 83s. That's telling me chances are maybe he's on spring break.
Yep.
But here's what happens. We cannot assume that. Why? Okay, so they got spring break and they've got something wrong with their HVAC or something, and they scheduled a part to come in. Now we're assuming that they're closed for spring break, no one's there. Instead, we should call those 1030s. You got to call; those are critical packages, because what could be happening is that part. It's a part for something that's supposed to be fixed during spring break, and now it's not going to happen.
Go ahead, Bob.
Marcus Corelli had that same scenario happen, and it was a package that wasn't delivered. I don't know if it was on a weekend. It was something that was similar to this. They didn't call on it. And for every hour that machine was down, it was costing $75,000 or something. Isn't that what he said?
Yeah. It was
So
going to a manufacturing site. Yeah. Except like Bob said, the school especially right now, the school is on spring break. That is right behind where I live. And But guess what? There were still maintenance people there this morning. Oh, and these are time definite. So it's a Tuesday. That means if it was an overnight, that package was ordered yesterday. So they needed that for some reason. All right. So that's an excellent point, Bob, and I appreciate that. Yeah, right now, the Optix app doesn't capture any exception codes, but what would that do? That would lead you to come in here, and so I could look this, I click on it, and then I can track this package, and it's going to take me straight to the FedEx tracking. So if your driver had an exception code on this package, it would be noted here. It wouldn't just say out for delivery. And this is a weird one. This is one that continues to show up on him that should not be on his route. Here's a mistake. These are things that you want to be able to take to FedEx to make sure to justify your service. This city is not on this contractor. So there is something wrong with this one. It's coming through with a Russellville address, but it's actually a different town. Okay. The other things that you can do in here that I do like to show people on some of the time definites. Let's go back here to time commits. I'm going to look at an 8 p.m. one. And I'm going to go to some that have been delivered. I can click on this one right here. Once again, I'm going to go to, oh, that one wasn't delivered yet. My bad. And so I could see this was a driver release. I hit track. And it's going to take me to the results. And if it's updated, it should, and your driver took a picture, the picture should appear here. So it's a good way to do driver release audits on your drivers. Okay.
And if you go back into that and you click on the actual tracking number, it'll show you the picture.
Okay. So I went to the wrong.
Nope. Yep. Hit track.
Hit track. Yep.
Then go down where it says, scroll up a little bit. See where it says
here?
on the way. Below that, there was another one that was green.
Okay.
No,
Track.
right there. See that
That
link
one right there.
right above delivered? Yep.
Not doing anything. Oh, there it is.
There it goes.
So there's your driver release. So you can do driver release audits on your drivers to make sure they are properly releasing these packages. Like I said, you can do it from this app as well as out of the boss system. Okay. Miss anything on the app that pertains to time definites, Mason, that you can think of?
No, nope. But I will say auditing these pictures is a big deal. Do it every now and then when you've got some extra time. FedEx is doing it, so you should too. Make sure they're getting good pictures of them. Super easy to access. Just go one route at a time and check a couple of them. Make sure they're not taking pictures of the side of their truck and actually packages, because FedEx is indiscriminately going through and auditing those.
Like I said, and this that's how you can change your ride scores. And those ride scores are now part of the metals calculation. So it's a big portion. So please encourage you to do those. All righty. All right. I'm going to go to the boss system. Okay, Mason? And go over here. Oh, here's the boss system. Once again, on our main menu, you can see where your drivers are. Okay. And I go to real-time activity. I can do my on-road. That's all looks familiar, right? And then we go to our time commitments. And you can see in this operation, I got my 1030s. And you can see right here, 43 of 45 were delivered on time. We're missing 2. So again, if I just wanted to see the ones that haven't been delivered, I go there like that, and 1 in Cabot and 1 in Jacksonville. And then I could switch to my noons and see all those. This was updated quite some time ago. I didn't want to waste any time on that. But so you're able to manage these tools. You manage the Network 2.0 either from a desktop, from a tablet, or from a phone. So you can do it from the office, you can do it from the road. You now have the tools to manage this. And like I said, you can manage it by CSA as well, and very easy to get from the CSA to a particular stop, where you don't have to scroll through a bunch of stuff to find it. So, are there any questions out there regarding either the Optix app or the BOSS system as far as managing the Network 2.0? Okay. And Mason, do you have slides?
No, my slide just says who I just to introduce myself. So I'm Mason Wells. I have a dual purpose here at eSharkBiz. I am the manager of customer success. That's why Ken was asking me questions about the software. But I also am one of our current ASMs. So when Ken and Becca and Jeff all talk about the BSS program that has three different products in it. One of those products is the ASM program. So I wanted to go ahead and introduce myself so you guys could ask any questions about the program you might have. What an ASM does is really they are your main point of contact for all of the administrative services that you receive in that program itself. So the main one for that program is the payroll system. So with that, your ASM is really your lifeline. They are your go-to person. They are the one that you are going to call with questions about your payroll, onboarding your drivers. We send out offer letters and employee documents to be signed. And we really just get your drivers onboarded into the eTruckBiz system, the payroll system, so that they're ready on day one to get trained, to get in that truck, and you're not doing any of it. Okay. You really become very acquainted with your ASM. I talk to all of my ASM customers multiple times a day. And I talk to the BCs and the drivers too. So when your drivers are having issues with software, or they're having issues with payroll, or they are needing help with anything at that point, they reach out to me and we get that attended to. The reason for the ASM program is we've talked about this a lot, and I just wanted to reiterate, you guys need to be working on revenue generating activities, right? Doing payroll, sitting down and taking the time to do your payroll is not a revenue generating activity. Therefore, it's a lot better to offload it off to me so it gets done and you don't have to worry about it, and you can go and worry about generating more revenue. Some of the other nice things about the ASM program that we attend to are generating your monthly maintenance reports for you. So you send us your invoices and we get those filled out before the 20th of the month for you, signed, sealed, delivered. We also do full service recruiting. Something that's really nice about the ASM program is it is an all-in-one program. We recruit your drivers. When you tell us, I hired Mason and they start tomorrow, we have all of the information already ready to go to start onboarding them onto payroll, onboarding them into our system. And all you have to do is tell us how much you're paying them and who it is, and we do the rest. So it really is a turnkey system that you can use to offload some of those administrative tasks. And something that is also really nice for those of you who are in the process of or looking to be multi-facility. So we've been talking about that for a couple of weeks now. We're seeing this happen a lot. Really good running contractors are getting reached out to about running in multi-facilities. So one of the nice things about being an ASM is we create a process that can be replicated across all of your entities. We have a lot of people who are on the ASM program right now that because we do all of these tasks for them, they're able to scale. They're able to replicate the situation and be in another location, be in another terminal. And across the board, they know that things like E-Verify and recruiting and their I-9s and employee handbook books are getting signed. So all of those tasks are being taken over from you, and you have peace of mind that it's being done correctly. We had a couple people recently that signed up for ASM. They got into FedEx very recently. They were not FedEx contractors before, like a lot of you are. and they didn't know some of the ins and outs of the little weird, intricate things about FedEx payroll. As we all know, because we've talked about it a million times, the vehicles under 10,000 pounds and things like that, they were not aware of some of those issues. So now we're taking over their payroll and getting it ran correctly. So payroll audits are a breeze. And that's another thing we help you take care of is payroll audits. You just reach out to us and we help you take care of that too. Highly recommend, if you have any questions, to reach out to me or to Becca. Becca can give you more information about the full BSS program as a whole. But as far as the ASM program, if you have any questions about it particularly, now is a great time to ask them. We're getting ready to go into Q2. So taking over payroll would be a lot easier right this minute instead of, in the middle of a quarter. So if you had any questions, I just wanted to make sure that you had my information. My email is Mason, MASYN, at etruckbiz.com. If you had any questions, please feel free to reach out. And if I don't know the answer to it, I will find somebody that does.
Excellent, Mason. Greatly appreciate it. As she said, our ASM team understand the business, understand the payroll rules and regulations, and they are there to take a lot of work off of your plate, as she said, so you can focus on the operation, the revenue producing task, monitoring those time definite shipments with the tools that eTruckBiz has, simply because, like I said, the FedEx up until September, they're going to pay you that money up front now. They ain't going to pay you that money forever if you don't deliver those packages at 98.5% service levels. I can assure you that. And we talked about that at the seminar when we go to Vegas. And when we announce that, we will be talking about it in Vegas as well. But it's something that you need to manage every day. As Bob said, situation, schools are closed. That was an air conditioning part or a boiler room part that needed to be there. You have those tools now to check on it, especially if that got loaded on the driver. He just didn't think to go there. You can call on it. You could say, hey, that part's needed for the school. We need you to go back and make that delivery. Okay. Those are the kind of things that you have to do in Network 2.0. Things that you don't have to do are those tasks you can turn over to our ASM staff. And as I said, they are the best in the business. I do not see any questions. Mason, you did just an outstanding job of explaining it, but Mr. Schmidt has raised his hand. Let me see if I can allow him to talk. So let me go in here. I have to find this. Okay, there you go, Matt. You should be able to talk now.
Hey, Ken, can you hear me?
I can hear you great. I appreciate you speaking up here.
Hey, question. Educate us a little on y'all's experience with the same day pickup request and how the software might be able to help us do that. Or is that something y'all are working on? Because that's a part of this that a few of us are getting a little bit of volume, but we're not getting the pickups yet. And so that's going to be something that we're not really going to see until we see it.
Yeah, what we've seen right now, what the software will do, the pickup will appear on the manifest, so it will be in the scanner, and once it's in the scanner, it will also be on the driver app as well as in the Optix app. It will appear, and then once again, like I said, you get that 30-minute warning on your pickups. That window is going to close, so that will help you manage that. Matt, you attended the seminar. We said you also have to have an afternoon operation now, where before is let the guys go. They know where their pickups are, and they'll get them done. Now you've got pickups that if a customer calls in at, say, 3:30 and they close at 5, it gives you an hour and a half to make that pickup. Is it a challenge? Yes. Surprisingly, in the stations that I've talked to, it hasn't been as big a challenge as we thought it would be. For the most part, the CSPs have done a good job with that. The one thing that you do have to guard against is your drivers doing a delivery at a pickup, and then the customer says, hey, I'm going to have something that's going to go out with the pickup, and it's going to be an express package, but I'm going to need you to come back. Why don't I just get it tomorrow? Drivers like to make deals so they don't have to come back to a place, so you just have to avoid that. But So the tool, as you asked, Matt, it's going to populate that pickup. It's going to give you the 30-minute window closing, but that's really about it. Did that answer the question for you, Matt?
It did. Will it be colored different or anything else?
The pickups are all going to be in black. And unfortunately, FedEx really doesn't differentiate whether it was a same day on call or a scheduled pickup.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Appreciate the question. Is there any other questions out there? Okay. It's fairly quiet. We will be back here next Tuesday. Oh, looks like we got possibly one in the Q&A here. It says, does the app have a history function so we can help with disputes for what happened last week? Mason, correct me if I'm wrong, it does not store that data, correct?
No, so the app itself is a today relevant app. So it does have some historical like other things like truck, being able to maintain the truck type stuff and some of the driver stuff, but the data you're seeing in the app that we showed you today is coming directly from the FedEx API and is displaying in there for you to be able to manage today. Because as we have talked weeks and weeks now with Network 2.0, everybody is having to go from managing on a weekly or biweekly up to day and minute and hour. So that's why this is today's right this minute's information. Anything historical that is like historical data related is going to be in the boss system. As the tracking stuff and things like that, we do not store that. That is not something that you're going to find in the boss system for previous days. So as I don't know if that answers your question necessarily for what you're asking there. Historically, like your stops, packages, all that information is in the boss system historically. You can go back and find all of that and I can help you find it. But as far as those tracking links and things of that nature, those are not stored historically. And I'm pretty sure, Ken and Bob, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but those tracking links are only good for so long, aren't they? They don't. I'm not quite sure if FedEx keeps them, active for indefinitely or
Well, no,
what they do with
it's a
those.
limited time frame that they're in there. If you ever notice, stuff on the DSW actually disappears as well. But I think you'll see more and more historical stuff get with the purchase of Route Smart and the geo positioning, locating those deliveries. I think that's where they're going to try to bring all that stuff in for the disputes as well. Okay, so till what time will drivers receive on-call pickups? That really is going to depend on your location and proximity to the airport, as well as the departure time of the plane. There's the Youngstown station closest to me, their return time to the station is 6:15. So they certainly really cannot have any pickups that have to be picked up any later than 5:30, and they could call in up till 4:30 to get a 5:30 pickup. Like I said, it's really going to depend, but normally the same day on-call pickup, you have an hour before closing that it has to be called in. Okay, and that does appear to be the last question. If you have any more that come up, please don't hesitate to email them to me. As I said, we will be back here next week. I know Jeff will be back, and we'll plan on talking about some further stuff about Network 2.0. And I think about the most recent blog post about is FedEx gambling on contractors. And I won't go into that, but FedEx is counting on contractors to manage the Network 2.0 business, deliver superior service, and because they know that they can count on contractors to continue to do that. So if we don't talk to you before next week, please have a safe and profitable week, and thank you for joining us today.